All right, guys, my truck has been getting a little bit louder over the last several months, and now it's recently been making a crackling sound when I let off the gas as I'm cruising down the road. So I'm going to get in there and show you how loud it's getting, and then I'm going to show you guys how I'm going to fix it. Might not be able to hear it too much because I'm not going down the road, but again, when I'm going down the road and I let off that gas, you can hear that crackling a lot more. Doesn't really sound that bad, but it's something that I still want to fix because I think there's an exhaust leak, and that also takes away from the performance of the truck. So I'm going to let it cool off again. I'm going to get up under there and let you guys show you guys where I found the problem at. All right, guys. Right here is where it's making all that noise. Right here you have the headers, then you have the muffler. So this muffler slipped off this flange. So this flange is now on this side, and it's supposed to be over on this side. So these two bolts, one on each side, need to come out. And normally, in the past, I've never gotten these things to turn out. So I'm going to be getting slip flange. I'll show you what they look like tomorrow. I went to our parts store and they don't have any in stock here. The next town over, the O'Reilly's has one, but they also have other parts stores because I'm going to need two. Because like I said, I'm pretty sure these things are going to bust off. You can see how rusted they are, and I can never get them to turn. And they're pretty skinny bolts, so they're probably going to just snap off of there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a slip flange on top up here, and then slip flange on the bottom, and then bolt them together until that pulls up and seats up in here, and hopefully that'll fix my issue. And also, I'm not going to be able to probably get this back over on this side, so I'm going to need a slip flange at least for the bottom anyways. Like I said, if I can't get these bolts out, I'm not going to get a bolt in here, so but we'll see. Alright, I got these split flange in. How these are going to work is that if you get those two bolts out of the header, you're only going to need one. This will go on the muffler side, and it'll screw up into the header, and this will hold that muffler in place, acting as the flange. And it's slip because this will slip. They come apart and they will go over around the muffler, and then these bolts will go through that, and they're supposed to bolt up in there. The bolts I seen up in there, they actually look smaller like that. I don't know if they're rusted or not, but these ones don't even look like they're going to fit in there. But either way, I think I'm going to bust them off. So what's going to end up happening is I'm going to need two. They only had this one in size, so I got also one bigger, but this one's going to have to be on the bottom. But on the top, if I can't use those holes already on the header for the bolts, I can actually slip this one up in there, and then this will be on one side and this will be on the top side, and I can run those bolts up through here and put a nut on the top, and I can get them to work still. So we're gonna get up into there and see if I can get those bolts out, and if not, I'm gonna make it work. You can see it's already kind of rusted all up around in there. I think I can get one on here. I really don't think I'm going to get that to turn that well. See if I can get my hand up in here over the top. See that? Look how easy that thing snapped off of there. Exactly what I knew was gonna happen. So now I'm gonna go beat this out of there and Do the same to the other side. All right, guys, this actually took me a little over an hour to do to save some time. I'm going to go ahead and put a little part of this in fast forward and just let you guys know what happened. And I'm going to jump right into putting that split flange in so you guys can see what I'm doing. So I'm not wasting a lot of time on a video of just watching me beat on this with a hammer and some wrenches. So uh, video doesn't show it, but it's actually a really tight spot. So I'm up in there fumbling with sockets and having stuff drop. I can't even get my hand up in there with a hammer to even hit the socket on there. So eventually I did get them to snap off. And then I also used a pair of vice grips for the other side and twisted it and got it to snap off. And fortunately, I also had both of the backs, the bolts actually come out. Some of them, the headers have it where the bolts screw in, so you guys might not be able to do that and might have to use both of the slip flange. Since I got mine to come out, I was able to use those whole bolts, but my bolts that came with the split flange were actually still too big. They were fitting pretty tight, so I went ahead and got a little bit smaller bolts to put in, and I went ahead and used those instead. So anyways, I'm going to go ahead and jump right to that point. And also I used to get those other end out of the bolt that was kind of wedged in there. I was able to use a punch, and I was able to punch that out to clear that first nut that broke off. I got it out. Let's say you guys didn't get those bolts out. You can actually put this on that side as well, and one on this side, and you can bolt this into the other side. Since I had mine free up, I have those holes, so I'm only going to use one. But if you can't get that bolt out like I did, and some of them you can't, like they actually screw in, like this header is actually the thread what you're supposed to screw into, and they don't come out. On this one, it was just a bolt one that went through. Okay, I went ahead and got a little bit smaller bolts, nuts, and I did go ahead and put a washer and a lock washer on there. It is raining outside. You guys are wondering what that noise was. Go ahead and put both of these on there before I start tightening things down. There we go. All right, I got it on. Now I just need to tighten those things down. All right, there's the finish. There's no play. It's on there. The two bolts are bolted tight. That's how a slip flange works. You slip it over this muffler and it's good to go. So if any guys are needing to figure out a way to get your muffler to attach to your header and you break off a bolt, remember you can also use one of these on the other side. You will probably have to get longer bolts, but that's not a super big deal. Get some longer bolts and put this also on that side and you should be able to get it. You can also probably just use a half of one if something comes up crazy where you can't get it to fit around, because it won't slide off because you'll have both sides on this. It's just something to go through. I mean, this isn't going to be lined up with that, so this is going to be turned, but you're going to have a hole up here and a hole down here. It'll tighten down. So anyways, there it is. Hopefully this helps any of you guys that are looking for a way to attach that. All right, I just drove it down the road and back. It's actually even driving a little bit better, but that loud noise is gone. And let you guys see, and the crackling is gone. Much better. All right, you can see that's what that bolt looks like, and I'm actually starting to think that the other side may pop out of there if I smack it around. So I'm gonna go ahead and try that. All right, that's out too.